Hi, good morning. So, unfortunately, I couldn't make it to class, so I'm going to do it online and then share the video with you guys, right? So this morning we're going to look at how to create a survey mission, and we'll take it from there. So the first thing we need to do when we want to create a survey mission using the key ground control is to first understand where we are interested to do our survey mission. So let's assume this is the area that we are planning to do the survey mission. We can either have a boundary file, which could be a KML file, or we can go straight and then plot our data here. But before that, the first thing is to set up our takeoff point, and our takeoff is made up of the launch point and the transition area. So I have my takeoff point here. So I'm assuming I'm at the Afenia airstrip. I'm going to take off exactly at the end point. This is my transition distance, and I'm transitioning at a distance of 300 meters. So this is the pre-standard set by the manufacturer. We cannot change these parameters of the DeltaQuad. Yeah. So the next thing is that I need to add one more waypoint to kind of build the altitude. So I'm assuming my survey height is going to be 200 meters, right? So first I set my takeoff height to 60 meters, which is pre-required by the manufacturer, and then I add one more waypoint before I bring in my survey waypoint. So from 60 to 60, so let me put here somewhere around 100 meters. Okay. You could see that I have gone beyond the gradient requirement, which is plus or minus 10. So I have to make sure that is corrected before I do my final mission. So I now come to my pathing, and then I have my survey mission here. So I'm just going to do a basic survey mission. If I had a KML file, I could have imported the KML file and then used that. So I'm going to do that. I have my survey mission here. You could see that my area of interest is actually the urbanized area around the airfield. So I will use this button to actually move my entire mission to that place, and then use the corner tracers to actually move to the regions of interest where I want to do the mapping. And also make sure you have perfect lines, so that you don't have some truncated lines, like perfect rectangular lines going in and out of the area of focus. So I'm going to extend it more. And to do that, okay, so this is quite a decent size that I want to work with. Okay, great. Now so here I have my third waypoint that is going into the mission area. I'm flying at 200 meters. So let me find a way to reduce that height. So let me put somewhere around 90, or maybe I can look at 80. And then have a look at my okay, so this is fairly good. So I build it from 60, 80, and then I enter my flight altitude, which is 200 meters. Right. Now, once that is done, I need to set up my overlap parameters. So I'm going to go with 80 by 80. Because it's an urbanized environment, there's a lot of the similar features on the ground, so I want to really pick up a lot of details. The next thing for me to do is to set up my turnaround distance. So we leave it as it is, 200 meters. And then also bear in mind that I need to set up the camera that we're going to use. So we're going to use Sony and we're using the Sony A7R Mark V with a 35mm lens. We're going to use the landscape image size. Now when I'm done, I also need to set up the image taking orientation. So I'm going to click on image intent and also fly in transit. So that means that I'm going to fly in certain order. When I'm done, and I'll go through the other order. Okay, so we have these two checked. Okay, now with the terrain, we leave it as it is, and then also we leave the transit angle as it is. But the most important thing is that we need to fly into the wind. We have to avoid crosswinds. Now I'm assuming I'm done. The next thing is for me to add my landing component. So I'm going to click on my land, and then I'm going to come to exactly where I took off and then land there. Okay, so here I have my approach landing, my loiter waypoint, and then my final landing descent altitude. So I'm going to set the radius to 100 meters to make sure the aircraft has enough room to turn in case of any unexpected wind change. I'm going to leave the loiter with altitude at 30, keep the landing point at 0. But the next thing for me to focus on is my heading, and I can do this by first identifying the wind direction. Always bear in mind that the simulator does not give you the true wind direction. So I'm going to save my mission. So save mission. So I'm going to save that. Now once that is done, the next thing for me to do is to go to the link validator and then validate my mission. And then with that, Windy is going to help me understand the wind conditions there. Okay, so my link validator is uploading. Okay, so let's assume we have our mission plan here. I'm flying today. I'm flying somewhere around 10 a.m. in the morning. So I'm going to validate it. Okay, so I have a few items that I need to clear. So the first thing for me to clear, it says that the takeoff is not planned into the wind direction. So I have to look at the wind direction from here, which is around 239 degrees, and I could also see that from Windy. So I'm going to change my takeoff into the wind direction by copying it and then coming back to my planning tools. So I'm going to put that information here. Okay. So this changes the takeoff direction, sorry, the landing direction. Then I'm going to go to my takeoff and then try and align with that same value. So we're looking at 239. So I'm going back here, work with my transition. 239. Okay, that's 239. Okay, I have to extend my distance. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So that's the first error that I've solved. Now let's look at the second error. The second error is saying that the VTOL distance of the VTOL takeoff waypoint from the home point is 29951. So meaning it was less than 300. So I have increased it a little by adding 26.9 extra meters to it. Okay, so let me look at the next error. it says that okay, so this is also solved. So I'm just going to save the mission back, and then so I'm going to do a save as and then validate the mission again. Okay, so with that done, I go back and then I validate it again. Okay, so my mission is passed, and as I said, if you have failed warning, never fly the mission. You need to have the pass before you fly the mission, so please have that in mind. So the next thing is for me to visualize my mission exactly on the terrain by downloading the Google KML file and visualizing that. So this is a 3D representation of my Google KML file. So I'm taking off from here. So this is my takeoff point, and then I'm going to transition this way. And then once I hit the first waypoint, I'm going to move into my mission area and then start mapping. Be mindful of certain features that may be high altitude that could interrupt your mission. It could be trees, it could be cell towers, it could be buildings. So you have to be very careful about those information. And then, as I said earlier on, you have to be very aware of the environment that you are flying in. So Afiena is an airfield. It could be an airplane could be coming in, so you should be very alert, right? Okay, so once this is done, I'm going to upload my mission into my drone and then fly it. So I'm uploading the mission. So once I have the done here, meaning my mission is done, so I'm going to go to the plan view. I have my mission ready here. I check to make sure I have enough GPS, I'm in the right mode, my batteries are good, my communication is good, and then I'm going to slide here to initiate my mission. So now I've slide my mission and it's ready and it's airborne. So you can see I'm building up my altitude here. Right. So yeah, let me check my vehicle speed. Yeah, that's exactly what the manufacturer gave, so we're good. Let me go back, let me observe. Okay, so I'm almost at the 60-meter mark. Once I get there, we'll see that the aircraft will start transitioning. So yeah, it starts to transition, and then once it's done transitioning, it will start doing the mapping. Once it enters into, so now it's going to the third waypoint, and from the third waypoint it will start the mapping. So all this way around, it's not taking any pictures yet. It's trying to get into the third waypoint. Once it gets to the third waypoint, then it will enter into the map and will start taking the pictures. So our GPS is good. We don't have any errors. So you could see here statistically we took off, the return to launch was activated, our return mission distance was okay, the mission was uploaded, landing detection and the motors, and then good to go. So I can clear these errors. You could also see from here I've transitioned to, I'm in the fixed wing mode, yeah, and I'm good to go.
Communication lost. Communication regained.
Yeah. So the mapping has started, it's taking pictures. So you have to keep monitoring your mission so that if there's any issue you can respond on time. So you can see it's taking the pictures one after the other. So it's timing, and we realize that because of the distance that we gave it, it has enough room to actually turn easily. So now it's going through the third waypoint. Once it's done, so it's always going to skip the in-between waypoint after the first flight, and once it's done, it will just go back and then do the skipped waypoint as the 10. So now it's done with the first set, and then once it's complete, to go through the next line that it skipped. So it's coming into this. Yeah. It's coming into this.